Hi everyone, I hope you're all well and keeping nice and safe at home and working really hard for your parents. So today in Marvellous Maths we're going to do a little bit more subtraction, applying what we learnt about subtraction and column subtraction to some word problems. But first we need to warm up our brains. So let's have another game of rock, paper, scissors. Now a few weeks ago we played this game and on 3 we each held some fingers up to the screen. Your job, if you're in year 1, is to add together my fingers and your fingers, or if you're in year 2, is to multiply the number on my fingers with the number on yours. Are we ready? Get your fingers ready? On 3, ready? 1, 2, 3, show. So I've got 3 fingers, add or multiply with your fingers. Ready? 3, 2, 1, show. 1 finger. One more time, ready? 3, 2, 1, show. Awesome job, guys. Hopefully your brains are feeling a little bit warmer now. Let's do some maths. Okay, guys, so at the end of my last Marvellous Maths video, I left you with this best in the business bonus question, just like Mr. Gosling does, and I asked you to have a go at answering this column subtraction question and then save your answers for next time. Now if you didn't do it, don't panic, you can pause the screen now while you have a quick go. If you did do it, go and grab your answers now and we're going to go through it together and see whether you got it right. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at what we've got. We've got our thousands column, our hundreds column, our tens column, and our ones column. Now, what column is it that we always start with when we're doing column addition or column subtraction? We always start with our ones column. So, let's go to our ones column and have a look. We've got 1, take away 5. Can we do that? Can we take 5 away from 1? Do we have enough? No, we can't. So we need to knock next door and we take 1 from next door. So to do that, we cross out the 1 next door and that becomes 1 less, which is 6. And then we take that 10 and put it into our ones column. So we've now got 11 take away 5. So we can do that. Let's do it together. My starting number goes in my head, 11 in my head and 5 on my fingers and count back. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So my answer in my ones column is 6. So now we can move on from our ones column into our tens column using our new 10, which we've got 6. So we've got 6 take away 9, which again we can't do because 9 is bigger than 6. If our counting number is bigger than our starting number when we're taking away, we can't do it. So we're going to knock next door. And we're going to take 1 from next door. So 1 less than 2 is 1, well done. And we carry that across into our tens column. So now we've got 16 take away 9. So we can do that. 16 in our head, let's do it together. 9 on our fingers and count back. Ready? Stop, stop, go. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So our 7 is our tens column answer. So now we can move on to our hundreds. Okay, so we've got 1 take away 6. Can we do it? No, you're right, we can't. So we need to knock next door again and we need to take 1 from next door. So what's 1 less than 4? It's 3, well done. So we put 3 as our new digit in our thousands column and we carry that 1 that we've just taken into our hundreds column. So we've now got 11 take away 6. So we can do that. 11 in our head, 6 on our fingers and count back with me. Ready? Stop, stop, go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So 5 is our answer in our hundreds column. Well, so far we've had to knock next door on every column. Do you think we're going to have to do it again? Let's have a look. Let's see. We've got 3 take away 2. Can we do that? Yes, we can, finally. So 3 in our head and 2 on our fingers and we count back. Ready? Stop, stop, go. 2, 1. And our answer in our thousands column is 1. So 4,271 take away 2,695 is 1,576. If you managed to get that correct, I am so impressed that you have managed to do a 4-digit number, take away a 4-digit number. Well done. So, now we've had a recap of column subtraction and how we do it using bigger numbers, I'd like you to now have a go at these column subtractions using 2-digit take away 2-digit numbers. So pause the screen while you have a go, and don't forget, if your counting number is bigger than your starting number, you're going to need to take one from the 10 next door. Pause the screen while you do these questions. Let me show you the answers then, guys, and see how you got on. All the answers are on the screen there for you. Fantastic job if you managed to get all of those right. If you didn't get some of them right, have you managed to spot where you went wrong? Maybe you forgot to take one from next door, or maybe you switched the numbers round. So for example, on number 1 here, maybe you did 7 take away 0. These are all things that we need to remember to take real care on when we're doing subtraction. Okay, so as I said earlier, guys, today we are going to be applying our knowledge of column subtraction to solve subtraction word problems. Now, we had a go a couple of weeks ago at addition word problems, so let's see what you can remember about the method we use whenever we're faced with a word problem. Here's my first subtraction word problem for you. Now, the first thing we have to do is remember that method that we use. Can you remember what we call it? Well done if you remember that we use the rucksack method. Now, the rucksack method, we start with the R, read, so we need to read the word problem. Let's read it together now. If you had 20 jelly beans and you have eaten 6 of them, how many would you have left? Okay, so we need to know how many jelly beans we would have if we had 20 and then we ate 6. So we've read our word problem, we've done our R, now we need to move on to underline. So we're going to underline the important information. And the important information in this word problem are the numbers. And also it wants us to find out how many we would have left, which is going to help us with our next step of rucksack, because now we need to choose which operation we're going to need to use. Now, if it said how many would we have all together, we might be thinking that we would be adding, but because this says how many would we have left, that tells me that we're going to be subtracting. We're taking 6 from 20. So now we move on to S, solve. Now this one, we don't need to use column subtraction. We can do it with a good old number sentence. So if you're confident with doing this, you can pause the screen while you have a go on your own. Or you can stick with me and we'll do it together. So, I have labelled my number sentence sukkata, sukkata, sukkata. My starting number is 20, my counting number is 6, and I'm looking for my target number on this word problem. So, we had 20 jelly beans, and I've eaten 6, so I'm taking away 6. So, I put my starting number in my head, my counting number on my fingers, and I count back, because I'm taking away. Are we ready? Let's do it together. Starting from 20, stop, stop, go. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. So my answer is 14. I would have 14 jelly babies. So I've done my A of rucksack. I've answered the question. And finally, C is to check. So to check, I'm going to quickly reread the question, make sure I haven't missed any information, and then check my calculation. So if you had 20 jelly beans and you ate 6, how many would you have left? Okay, so I'm definitely taking away 20 in my head, 6 on my fingers, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. I'm definitely happy with my answer. Okay, so here's your next word problem, and I'd like you to have a go at doing this one on your own. I've put rucksack on the screen for you to help you with the method, but we'll do the R of rucksack together. We'll read it together. So, if you had 20 plums and you use 13 to make jam, how many would you have left? Now this one you're going to need to use column subtraction. So pause the video while you have a go at this, and then we'll come back together and we'll go through how we do it. How did you get on with that one, guys? So we read it together. Now let's underline the important information. So if you had 20 plums, now we know that the numbers are often important for us in word problems. If you had 20 plums and you use 13 to make jam, how many would you have left? So I know when I'm choosing my operation, I know I'm choosing subtraction. And because we've got a 2-digit number here that we're taking away, I know I'm going to need to use column subtraction. So let's have a look at how we lay out our column subtraction. So 20 was my starting number. I started with 20. So I've written 20 on the top here. And I know that I'm taking away because I've chosen subtraction for my operation. So I'm taking away my second number here, which is 13. 20, take away 13. And just to help me, I've labelled my tens column and my ones column. And when we're doing column subtraction, we always start with our ones column. Well done. So let's solve it together. I've got 0, take away 3. Can I do that? Can I take 3 from 0? No, I can't. So I'm going to go next door. I'm going to take 1 from next door and carry it across into my ones column. So now I've got 10, take away 3. Well, I can do that. 10 in my head, 3 on my fingers, and count back. Ready? 9, 8, 7. So my answer in my ones column is 7. Now I can move on to my tens column. I've got 1, take away 1. Well, 1 less than 1 is 0, so I haven't put anything in my tens column there. However, if there were hundreds in this subtraction problem, then I would have to put a 0 in there as a placeholder, but I haven't because I don't have any hundreds in this subtraction question. So my answer is 7. I'll let you have a quick check that we've done it all correctly. Any errors, any problems? I think we've got it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now our next word problem I've put in here to really challenge us. Let's use rucksack to solve it. So we're going to read it first. Here we go. If you have 100 flowers and give 34 of them away, how many would you have left? Okay, let's start underlining the important information here. So we've got 100 flowers. And I give 34 of them away. I'm also going to underline away because I think that's important because it's helping me to realise when I'm choosing my operation that I am taking away, I'm subtracting. And again, we've got how many would you have left? So when we choose our operation, we are definitely subtracting, absolutely. So we can write out our column subtraction here so that we can start to answer it, to solve it and answer it. So I've got 100 as my starting number, take away 34. So we'll start with our ones column. 0, take away 4. Can I do that? No, because 4 is bigger than 0. So I have to knock next door. But hang on a second. I've got 0 next door as well. Can I take anything from 0 into my ones column? No, I can't. So this is what I have to do. I have to knock next door again. Now this gets complicated, so make sure you're paying attention and turning on your BFG listening ears. I take 1 from my hundreds and that becomes 0 because I only had 1 in my hundreds column to start with. Now that ones column, Now that 1 from my hundreds column, I can't carry it all the way to my ones. I have to stop first in the middle at my tens, so I'm going to put it here. So now I've got 10 in my tens column because this one here is 100. But I need 1 of these in my ones column. So I'm now going to take it from here, and 1 less than 10 is 9. Well done. It's very tricky writing it on the laptop with my mouse pad, so you have to forgive my bad handwriting here. So that's become 9, and the 1 goes into my ones column. So let's just recap what we did there. We didn't have enough in us as our starting number in our ones column, so we knocked next door, but there was also 0 there. So we went further down the road into our hundreds column where we managed to find 1. We took that 1 and put it into our tens column. And then we took 1 from our tens column, making it 9, and making our ones column 10. Okay, so now we've got 10, take away 4. 10 in my head, 4 on my fingers, and count back. Ready? 9, 8, 7, 6. So my answer in my ones column is 6. Now I can move on to my tens, and I don't need to knock next door now because my starting number is bigger than my counting number. So 9 in my head and 3 on my fingers, and count back. Ready? 8, 7, 6. Now we move on to our hundreds column where we've got 0, take away nothing. So there's nothing in our hundreds column. So 100 take away 34 is 66. So we've answered our word problem. Now the last step of rucksack is to check. Now it's really important, particularly if you've had to do a column subtraction where you've knocked next door multiple times, it's really important that you check carefully. So check very carefully that I haven't made any silly mistakes in my calculations. Can you spot any errors? Okay, I think we're good. I think I've talked at you enough then, guys. I think it's your turn to have a go. So on the screen, I've put 2 word problems. And I've put in the middle rucksack just to help you remember the method that we follow when we're solving word problems. My first word problem says, Mrs. Denham took 840 seconds to run the Lowbrook Mile, and Mrs. Lucas took 750. How much longer did it take Mrs. Denham? And my second word problem says, Mrs. D baked 104 cupcakes, and Mrs. Sparks secretly ate 15 of them. Cheeky. How many cupcakes are left? So your job now is to pause the video and use rucksack method to solve both of these word problems. Pause the video while you have a go. How did you find those, guys? Were they tricky? Shall I give you the answers and see whether you got them correct? So I'm not going to break them down and go through the method, but I am going to tell you what the answers are. So your first one should have been 840, take away 750. You needed to knock next door in order to do your tens column, 4 take away 5. So you needed to take 1 from your hundreds column. And your answer would be 90 seconds. And then Mrs. D baked 104 cupcakes, so you would have had 104 as your starting number, with Mrs. Sparks eating 15, so take away 15, and there were 89 cupcakes left. Awesome job if you managed to get those answers right. If you didn't, pop back and have another look and make sure you've done it correctly. Check what you're working out and see whether you need to change anything. So awesome job today, guys. Some of those word problems were really, really tricky. And I'd like to make an extra special shout out to anybody in year 1, because column subtraction and column addition are year 2 objectives. They are not things we would normally do in year 1. So if you have managed to keep up with my column addition and my column subtraction and apply it to word problems, I am so impressed. That's really, really impressive work. Well done, guys. Thank you so much for joining me again today. Make sure you join Miss Weatherall on Monday morning for some more Marvellous Maths, and I'll see you on Wednesday next week. Have a great weekend, be good, work hard, and most importantly, stay safe. Bye, guys.